Hello, Gamerish Network. Welcome to the fourth episode of To Video Game and Beyond. I'm Michael Brevard Decker, aka Captain BD, and with me is Mark.
What's going on, everybody?
so we are here today, of course, to discuss the fourth episode of the second season of Mandalorian, also known as Chapter 12. But before we get to that, man, what have you been up to this week?
So I took your advice last week from the last episode, and I downloaded the little hidden room for
Okay.
Skyrim. So I've been kind of doing like a Lord of the Rings hash slash Skyrim. So I've been rewatching all of the Hobbit series right now while I'm playing. So it feels really good to just run around Skyrim and electrocute people and mimic the Force and just kick ass. So thank you for
Yeah,
that.
I
That's
know.
been taking up a lot of my time.
That cheat is like the cheat to end all cheats.
Oh, it's great. Like, it's finally like a challenge.
Yeah,
But
it's like,
it's
how's this for a cheat? Everything. Just everything. Everything you could possibly imagine. And if that's not enough, here's the tools to make new shit up.
yeah, like, oh, I'll be back. I didn't level up enough. Disappear, come back. Now I'm ready. Chop your head off. So it's been pretty fun experience blowing through that. So that's what I've been doing this week. So The Hobbit and Skyrim.
Okay, nice. That'll keep
Yeah.
you busy. That's enough right there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so any reading anything or watching anything or just I guess Hobbit probably takes up quite a bit of time.
Um, Work has been taking a lot of my time still. So I've
Yeah.
been watching Star Trek Discovery and Mandalorian. Keeping up with my my stars Thursday Friday event. Other than that,
Nice.
yeah, other than that, it's just work, home, work, home. So not a lot of fun. So in my spare time, trying to keep the apartment together and play some games in between. And
Right.
so Calamity came out for Switch. If you're a Zelda fan and like to play that.
I'm a huge Zelda fan. And yeah, guys, any listeners out there, if you're a Zelda fan, check this out. Have you played it?
Not yet. Not
Did you
yet.
play the
It's on my
demo?
wish list. Nope. Still on my wish list.
The demo's free, and it's like the whole first
Okay.
level. So I
Have
would,
you tried it?
yeah, I've played it. Did you like Dynasty Warriors?
Yeah. Is it kind of play like that?
Pretty much, yeah. It's so it looks like Breath of the Wild, and it's got the characters of Breath of the Wild, but it is not Breath of the Wild. You know what I mean? Like even the controls are completely different. To how you fight and everything. Everything's different. Um,
So
but
does that mean
it's
you give it a recommend or?
I would recommend playing the demo first,
Okay.
because some people love Dynasty Warriors and that other Hyrule Warriors that came out. People love that. It's like horde fighting. You know, what I mean, you're taking on just endless amounts of goblins and hoblins or whatever they are, and I mean, it's just nonstop hordes coming at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what you been up to?
All right, so I'm still in my PS5 haze. Um,
Of course, you're able
and
to get
it's
one.
it's a good haze. It's good. So
Yeah.
I was playing Valhalla for the majority. Oof, I would say before last weekend, probably about 20 hours into that, and then Saturday or Sunday I went and got Miles Morales.
Hmm.
And since that time, I haven't put that down. I haven't touched Valhalla or any other game at all. I've just been playing Miles Morales. It is excellent. It's it's an excellent game. It's it's just cute, and I beat it, and it feels good. And at the end of it, everybody in like Brooklyn and in Harlem, um, no spoilers, but they back him up, and when the cops come on the scene and they're like, Spider-Man, you're in trouble or blah blah blah, they all protect him, and they're like, who is he? Blah blah blah, and he's like, that's our Spider-Man, So it's cool. And then I'm going through it. I'm getting all of the trophies, and I'm pretty close
Does
to
it
like
feel
platinum. Yeah,
does it feel like a different game, or does it feel the
yeah.
same as?
Um,
Okay.
so in some ways, he starts off super weak. It feels like, um, and then you start progressing his skill tree, which isn't what I really do like about it. It's not like this massive skill tree. It's just 3 sections, and it's probably only like 8 to 10 things in each section. You know, so it's nice because as you progress through the game, you're just gonna unlock all of it. It's not like you need to just pick specifically to get this or that. Uh, so, but once you start upgrading his um, his venom, that's the electrical, fiery looking power. Once you charge that up, like he starts becoming super powerful. That and his invincibility. So he has a lot more tools, than Peter Parker does.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, it makes his stealth combat way better. So let's see what else is different. So you obviously played Spider-Man on PS4, right? The 2018 Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Excellent game. So when you're swinging, you can do these tricks. The air tricks, and that powers up your power meter or whatever, your power bar that you use for all
Mhm.
kinds of shit. This one you do the same thing, but instead of holding down, what was it like, square and X or X and circle, something like that. But instead of holding that down and only being able to go either up, down, left, or right to do different tricks, in this one you only hit square, only one button, and you have the whole entire circle of your stick to do all kinds of tricks.
Okay.
And they want you to combo them, and then you get combo points. You know what I mean? Like you get good, great, amazing, or ultimate. So that makes it more interesting too.
Okay.
Um,
A
it's
little
awesome.
flair to
It's
that.
it's an awesome game. It's probably 8 to 10 hours long if you just run through the story, and then if you come through and wipe up everything else on the map, I'd say it's probably another like 3 hours maybe.
Okay.
Short, sweet, pretty awesome. So today I got the 7 day trial for HBO Max because I wanted to watch the Fresh Prince of Bel Air reunion.
Mhm.
Did you watch that?
Didn't get to it yet.
Okay, I won't spoiler that up for you either, but it's nice. It's heartwarming. You get some chills here and there. You know.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard
I
pretty good things
watch.
about it.
Yeah. It's cool just to see everybody again. I wish they would have done this, of course. Pre 2013, and James Avery was still alive. On
Yeah.
film,
Yeah.
but it's still neat seeing everybody. Let's see other movies or anything that I watched. I also watched um, Love and Monsters. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Love and Monsters is a new one. We rented it. It's
Mhm.
got, I forget the kid's name. It's the kid from Maze Runner.
Okay.
So yeah, so dude from Maze Runner's in it, the main character, and basically the the bugs are monsters now on the planet. Bugs and animals are now huge giant monsters, and humans have had to get in these little um, clusters, basically underground clusters
Mhm.
everywhere. So I don't know. It was all right. My wife likes it. She likes that guy a lot. Obviously, when he was like 13.
So if it wasn't for him, would it be a movie worth watching? Or
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, yeah,
It's all right. It's all right. And you know what? We haven't. That's one thing about this. Well, it's not one thing about this year. There's so many things about this year. But another thing about this year is the movies have sucked.
yeah. I mean, they're moving Wonder Woman to HBO Max for Christmas, which is
Mm-hmm.
pretty awesome. Hopefully,
That's Snyder cut.
yeah, hopefully it lives up to its expectations because we need something like that right now. A little feel good movie.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and get to it and go ahead and jump into the reason that we're here, which is to discuss episode 4 of the second season of The Mandalorian. And I got to tell you that we had a couple predictions last weekend. One prediction that I had is that I said Tatooine and I was wrong about that, but I did say that he would not make it to his destination and he would have to go somewhere and repair, which he did. But if you want to, man, go ahead and give us that beautiful plot.
Yeah, so in last week also, one of my predictions was we haven't seen Cara Dune
Mm-hmm.
lately, and I'm pretty sure we were going to see her, and Carl Weathers before the end of this season. And sure enough, next episode, we were back at Navarro. Um, yeah, that Moncala repair shoddy job wasn't going to make it to Ahsoka at all. We decided, Amanda decided that it's time to go back. And apparently it just ping pongs. All these planets seem to be like close together in their own little cluster. It seems because it's always like these same three planets he goes to: Navarro, Tatooine, and then we were at Trask and the other ice planet again, where he found the dude from the first episode. So it's kind of interesting that we're ping ponging around, these couple of planets. But so we're off to Navarro, which seems closer to where we have to be anyway. And the opening scene is kind of cute, with baby Yobi. Apparently, Yobi does more than just coo and eat things. He's an electrician now. So, yeah, kind of. We open in a scene where we find Yobi out in the back in the hold somewhere with the blue and red wire. And Mando is trying to explain to him how to cross the wires so that the power can get going. And it is a comedic little scene that you see in a lot of different parodied in a lot of different movies. And it's cute that they have him doing it in this fashion too. Kind of humanizes him, and you want to say like he's still a baby. So I don't know about you, but would you send your kid down the shaft to kind of figure out which wire is
No,
what?
I wouldn't at all. Didn't you get some? I got some like real baby Groot feels from this.
Yep.
Like from that scene
Yeah.
from Guardians.
Don't push the button,
Don't
kind
push
of
that
deal.
button.
Don't
Eh?
put and
Eh?
that one. Yeah, that one. Nope. Yeah. So, um, then as you know, the outcome was inevitable. He doesn't seem to know his colors at that age, and so he electrocutes himself. And you kind of feel for him. You don't even think about him eating the frog lady's eggs anymore. Like, frog lady who? Like you kind of forgave him for all his little atrocities that he's done in the second episode. Yeah, so off we go to Navarro, where Mando lands the Razor Crest there, and it doesn't fly off into the desert or anything like that, like it did on the Water World at Trask. It actually landed this time, so at least the guy got it to fly, which he did, and land, which is cool. So that was pretty good. But as you know, so he goes and meets his friends, and off it's always funny how he goes everywhere, and the poor thing, it's like NPCs everywhere. We always have a job for you. He can't get to anywhere he wants to go.
No, no.
you know,
And I gotta tell you, so when this happened, when this little fetch quest happened, because that's basically what these episodes are. Like, hey, we'll help you, but you just said that. So when he
it plays like
says,
the video game.
yeah, it does. But when he says, I'll have my two best men working on it, and it's gonna take some time. So help me do this. But that one guy that like looked at him, I had a bad feeling about him from from the get. Like as soon as I saw him, I
Doesn't
was
it
like,
make
oh,
you?
that's doesn't make me
Doesn't it
what?
make you go? I have a bad feeling about this. And
Yeah,
rightfully so, because he gave them side eye as he was going away, and it's kind of like, yeah, shady dude. Watch out for him. Put a pin in that one, because something's gonna happen later on in the episode that uh we're gonna find out later. But I kind of felt that he was gonna put what he did on the ship. If it played out like a regular episode of Star Wars does, it's kind of obvious where that one was going. But thank God it didn't explode,
yeah,
which is always another. I mean, that would have ended the series completely, but that's always another possibility that always ends up at Star Wars in those situations anyway. So, oops. Um, but Grief Karga sees Yobi, and again instantly attached to Yobi and wants to grab him up. So
So that's also a big theme, right? Is that his friends have kind of become like this little bit of
Guardians
extended
or
family of him, his friends, like Cardoon and Strangers with Candy. Um, but his I can't Amy Sedaris. So that and Carl Weathers, like he's picking up these friends and they've all become his extended family. And every time he meets someone, one of his friends that he hasn't seen in a while, they're always like, "Hey, where's the kid? Let me hold the kid. How's the kid doing?" Like they're like, "Yeah, you're whatever. Where's the kid?" Like everybody is like, "Just shut up and give me the baby."
so
Nobody,
yeah, it goes. It
nobody cares about the
reinforces that thing that it reinforces that theory that baby has like some force aura around him or something that people instantly want to love him in in a sense that no matter where he goes, people are influenced by him, automatically are drawn to him and want to protect him. So he has that little protect aura around him, in a sense. And so the other thing I noticed here is that they always put the baby in the most awkward situations. Like, keep your job is to keep this baby next to you, and it's always plop. I'm gonna plop you somewhere that's not even protected by anybody, out of sight, out of mind, kind of deal. Somebody else watch him, and so we put him in a little school that the cantina was turned into. That's being overseen by a protocol droid, and it's teaching the kids on Navarro the different highways, the different hyperlanes, I guess you want to say.
yeah.
So there are apparently five of them, and the kids are trying to recite them, and they plop the baby in the chair, and all the kids are distracted by Yobi's presence. Everybody's drawn to him, and of course, why not? He's different. And kids do that; they stare. So the protocol droid, not even phased, keeps going in true like 3PO fashion. It's all about me. So keeps teaching the class, and they had to talk to Mando, Grief Karga, and Cara Dune. She's over here called the Marshal, which we have to back up to because apparently where Mando used to hang out at with the armor was taken over by aliens, I guess you want to call them. Do you know the name for them?
I don't know. They're just spider faces. I can look that up.
Spider faces.
Yeah, they're the spider face guys.
Yeah. So the spider face looking dudes, while you get that going. We're basically down there and they're pillaging the people of Navarro. And Navarro's a completely different place. So last time we saw it, it was all shot up kind of gray, shot in a gray scene. People weren't really out in the streets at all. And now that we see it, it's everybody's out and about. They're shopping in the
It's
streets. It looks
it's
like a place
bustling.
that, yeah, you wouldn't mind visiting. So Carrot's turned into the marshal on the street, and she's basically cleaning house. So she finds them down in the armory and cleans house. They are going to end up killing some little squirrely looking, weaselly looking ferret that was left behind and able to save the day. So after she wipes the floor with all those pirates, I guess you want to say they're bandits, she makes friends with the little weasel and takes the money back, and she tells them that basically she has to return it to its rightful people. So you see Navarro; it's pretty bustling and going. So as she's the marshal, it looks like Grief is basically the magistrate. The local he takes care of all the taxes and what's owed to him, and basically distributes everything in the back end. So he does the logistics, I guess you want to say. Yeah, so she's the muscle and he's the brains of the operation there, which is pretty cool, um, in a sense. So they basically go off to Grief's office to talk about their side mission for him, which is basically the siege, the name of the episode. So we want to go ahead and take over the last Imperial outpost that's left on Navarro. And immediately I thought, okay, here we go again. Just when you play the game, it's just like, oh, can't, it sounds like this is your fight, and here I am again. I just need repairs. I really have a side mission to do. Oh, you got time. And because you have time, you're going to help us. And it's nobody really asks him. They kind of do ask him, but you already know the answer is yes. They don't really give him a chance to answer. So I don't know about you, but I'd be over
Yeah.
over this
Yeah,
quest
no
really
chance.
quickly. Oh boy. So, um, needless to say, he goes ahead and accepts the quest. But they meet the blue guy from the first episode, so obviously Grief let him out of the carbonite, which is pretty cool.
Hmm.
But you already know where this is going to go to because he's kind of a shady fellow, also. And
I loved it when he first sees Mando and like steam comes out of his neck. I thought that was really cool.
from his aqua suit, or what do they call his
Yes. Moisture
hydro
suit.
moisture suit?
Moisture suit.
Yeah,
I don't know, something wet suit.
some type of suit that keeps him
It
nice
keeps
and
him clean.
moist. Keeps him moist. But apparently, he had about like 300 and something years on his sentence.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long they live, but if you're a human and have 300 and something years, that's a life sentence. You'll be dead. But in order for us to go ahead and get him going, Grief promises him some time off if he goes and behaves. So it's a quest. And now we got our four characters going on a speeder off to this Imperial outpost, which we have to destroy. Now, Carl Weathers directed this episode, and it was cute in a sense that he was able to direct it and be able to act inside his own episode. Which not all the actors get to do, which is pretty cool. There was a little faux pas inside the outpost, which I didn't catch on my first run through, but we can get to that in a minute. Um, but as we get to the outpost, it's up in the mountains, and of course they have to enter it from the most minute area that's on, that's available to them. And so it's a little elevator on the side. And for the life of me, they never really seem, the Empire always seems to be a little inept in what they do. Obviously, they drove up in a speeder, and nobody caught them driving up to like the basement door, and basically knocked. Yeah, and as usual, good old imperial fashion, these bases are never really guarded at all.
They're
Like you
always so
would
easy to
think,
sneak into.
yeah, like there are five people working there. I don't get it, you know. So it was a little funny that they needed to get the elevator door open. So Mando's like, "F this, I'm gonna go up there myself." So jetpacks away to the landing platform above and knocks off one of the riders up there, and the elevator comes down and opens up for them. So that scene was pretty cool too. Again, back to the cartoons and everything. It's just exactly played out in the way that they do it. So they are paying attention to their fans in a good way. Um, so I just hope that they keep doing it, you know, and not oversaturate it, don't overdo it. You know, a little originality is good too, but paying homage to all these little scenes from what we've seen before, it's good to see it.
And I love Mando dropping people from great heights and just freak the big drop deaths. Like,
Yeah,
we say this
yeah,
often, but he's so violent, and like whenever you kill somebody like that, it's incredibly violent. But like it just comes off like kind of comical, you know.
yeah. No, it's completely comical the way he does it, and it's great. You know, just keep doing what you do, Mando. Going out of the way and just dropping people because
Just
it's
dropping
always the
people.
same can, just same can scream, the same ah. You know it's
Thump.
coming. Yeah. And nobody seems phased by it either. Everybody
No,
just looks
they're
down
like
at the
they're
body,
always
looks
like,
back
eh.
up. Yeah, you know, step over. We got to go. In the true New York fashion, which I loved, you know. If you ever been stuck in rush hour and in New York, you know what I'm talking about. So just step over that body right in the elevator. We get to it. Yeah. So we're knocking off this blue dude sentence left and right. You know, to get
It
him to
was
come with
way
us.
more people than what they were expecting.
Yeah, and they tricked him by saying that his speeder would get caught in the lava flow after, and it's kind of a good thing anyway for what foreshadows to what happens to the speeder later. But he didn't want to get out of it at all. He thought he was just going to drop off
Mm-mm.
and go, but no, you're not the valet. You're coming with us because we need you for something dangerous later, which we're going to get to right now. So we go ahead and get inside this Imperial compound, and no security whatsoever. There's just one guy in the tower watching everybody on the security cam, and all those security cams, one went out on the platform, and they just decked him, you know, just
Yeah.
straight up. Straight up decked him, choked him out, whatever you want to call it, knocked out all the cameras, and off they went. Now, the goal here was to remove the heat shield that was surrounding, um, I guess, the power core, and in order to get the whole thing to have a meltdown. So the Imperials don't believe in rail guards. So if you ever worked in an Imperial facility, bless your soul, because there's no railings or safety regulations anywhere in anything that they do.
Really not.
So no. So the control panel is located basically over the lava, where you have to kind of hug the side to, and if you're afraid of heights like me in a sense and get vertigo, you would have threw yourself into the lava because of your fear and not just because of the task at hand. You know. So Blue Dude has to go. And poor thing, he gets out there and actually turns off the heat shield and it's gonna blow, so off we go running. Now, Mando's Beskar armor is great. We all have to just keep mentioning that in every episode that we do because it seems like now that he has that armor, the stormtroopers can aim. So it's
Yeah.
just cool to hear. It's cool to hear like the ricochet of the lasers from his
Mm-hmm.
armor as he goes. So
And
as they're
and
trying
then
to
you
escape,
see that
mhm,
happen, right? I'm sorry, I gotta stop you, but you see that happen, and you see it just bounce right off of him, and it is a really cool effect. I like it. But when it's like, what are the stormtroopers wearing? Like they might as well not
Plastic?
have anything on. Yeah, they just get one shot and they're done.
Yeah, I mean, it's for aesthetics, I guess. It's not really functional. I guess that's
Yeah,
the
you don't
joke
put any
about.
money into that.
No, no. I mean, that's the joke about, I guess, them altogether anyway. I don't know. They get garbage. Deadly garbage.
The easiest. They're the easiest thing to kill.
Yeah, I mean, I would just call them deadly garbage. There's nothing else really more to say. Um, but as they're trying to escape this lab, I mean, this weapons facility, wink, wink, they come across this area that's full of clone vats, what appears to be clone vats, and two commanders trying to wipe a memory from a computer. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think a memory wipe goes by shooting it. I,
You think they got the cloud, you know?
yeah, like I don't know how advanced the galaxy far far away technology is, but obviously they effed up because they were able to retrieve um, a hollow from Doctor Perkins,
Hmm.
something like
Yeah,
that.
he's such a creep. Like he gives me the creepiest vibes.
I mean, you kind of want to feel bad for him in episodes 1 and 3 when you first meet him because you kind of think maybe he was protecting the baby, maybe he was protecting the child, but obviously not. And when you go back to his patch, that he worked in the clone facilities for Camino. So it kind of goes in that sense that, okay, we're on the cloning line now. But in his message, basically they're talking about midichlorians or the M's. You need to be high in M's. So
Yeah, the M counts. Why can't they say metachlorians? Like, is it a dirty word or like
I don't
what's
know
going on with that?
if George still has the copyright on that. I can't say if it's a dirty word. There was a lot of controversy with the word midichlorians ever since episode 1.
Yeah,
So, um, but for whatever it all comes out to, however they wrote it, it all makes sense in their world now because that's how they wrote it into canon. So he basically tells him that their experiments are going wrong and he needs another blood transfusion from the donor, which is basically the child, Yobi. But the reason why he didn't continue with his experiments earlier was because it would have killed Yobi. And that's the last one that they have that they know of that has a high M count. So he recommended that the entire experiment stop. Now, a lot of people were talking about who were in the vats. I had a feeling just because of the way the movies went to go with Exegol and everything, I immediately thought like Snoke or something like that, or they were trying to experiment with along those lines. It's just because Palpatine is still out there. How did you feel about it?
yeah. So were they just trying to clone like what type of species were they cloning? I know that they were cloning using his M count, in the process so they can make some force sensitive clones. But what were the clones? Because they didn't look like him at all. They looked like near humans, at least.
Well, if you go by the theory that if it was like Palpatine, it was basically a humanoid kind of like thing. But then when we got to episode 7, we got Snoke, and Snoke just looked like some messed up, mauled up kind of shoe thing. And it turns out that it was like because Palpatine's experiments weren't so refined, you got that because he was trying to find a body or a vessel that could hold a metachlorian count or whatever it is in order to for him to possess that body without it becoming decrepit and dying on him. So I thought it was just like little Snokish kind of dealy people. But that was just me. It could just be something completely different and more, less nefarious than that. But
they looked very unsuccessful.
Yeah, yeah, and and if you go by that, because they haven't formed the first order yet, and they're going to, because they still call themselves Imperials, and they haven't reorganized into the first order yet. So that's where they're really headed right now. With Moff Gideon as their Vader-esque kind of villain. He has the power suit. He has the dark saber. He has his own custom TIE fighter, or had. So he's filling that void, and so obviously it's all a part of trying to regain what the Empire was. So Palpatine, I guess, is still out there giving orders. So that's the overall arc, if we go into the movies. But anyway, so Mando or Jin, thinks that it's an old transmission. Moff Gideon is dead. We saw him die. And that there's no way that this hollow is anywhere new. And they confirm it's 3 days old. So obviously our villain is alive and well. At large. So like a bat out of hell, Mando was like, peace, y'all. And left his friend to go. He had to go. And off he went. He jetpacked up out of there. And it was so funny as everybody's trying to stop him. Yeah. And it's just funny how, you see the lasers ricocheting again off of him. You get the other two troopers trying to stop the explosion by trying to turn on the heat. So they're out there holding on for dear life because, again, there are no guard railings. And one of their fellow troopers falls into the fire from where Mando took off, and it ricocheted and shot him. So, that was pretty funny in its own way. And then we're stuck with the three of them going about, and this is the part where it gets to where I guess now we have to thank Carl Weathers for making regular man canon in Star Wars. So, congratulations, regular man, blue jeans t-shirt, and sports watch. You are now our favorite Star Wars hero. For those regular man, and for those of you that do not know, go to the 18-minute mark and just watch the whole sequence from 18 to 19 minute, and it's towards the end of that minute.
Do you think he that guy still has a job?
Yeah, he does. Because I'm not. I mean, ultimately, I guess he does have saying what it's in, what's out. But they do have continuity experts that do watch this, and I think everybody was just like in awe of the whole sequence, that nobody was looking to look in the background. I didn't notice it on my first one either.
I did go back and watch it though.
Yeah, so
and it's noticeable.
I'm wondering if, I wonder if they're gonna edit it out like they did in Game of Thrones, where it's bottled water and Starbucks coffee. Because it's just like, how, with all that money, how do you guys do a simple thing like that? And I think the charm of it would be to just keep it in, or if you do take it out, air special episodes of it that do have it, just because it's just hilarious. But so now the three of these dudes are stuck on this laboratory. It's no longer an Imperial weapons complex. To get out of there, and now they're pinned down at the exit trying to get out because the elevator is taken over by some stormtroopers. And so we're having an old-fashioned shootout on the cargo bay area, which is pretty fun. And Kara notices the old tank that was left there from when the dude talked about it earlier in the episode. And so she gets inside it. And again, now we find out stormtroopers don't have aim. because she totally pulls up alongside them to pick them up. And the door opens, and it's a clear headshot to her from where the stormtroopers are. You clearly see the Boses that like right outside, and I'm over here thinking like, okay, snipe, and we're good. And no, just awful aim came back. I guess because they don't have Beskar, it's not like a magnet, you know. So they're inside that, a classic tank that everybody knows about in Star Wars. And if you don't, you got to go watch the old episodes to know what I'm saying. So we're inside this tank, and she goes over the cliff after she tries to kill or run over the other two stormtroopers shooting at them, and destroys the speeder. So if he was still outside of his speeder waiting for them to come down, he would have been squashed to death. So it's a good thing he went along the adventure anyway. And so we're thinking we're safe, we're out, and here come the cavalry. So off we go with our speeder troopers, going off the edge of the cargo bay area too, and just doing nosedive after them. And I really don't know about that scene. It's just they were so sloppy. You had like two of them. You had two of them crash to each other, and it's just like, oh, okay. We lost Larry and Carl there. No problem. Had breakfast with them this morning, but oops, they're dead.
What was their end game plan? I mean, their base just blew up. So yeah, now we're gonna chase these people and go get them. Like, no, dummy, you gotta run away and go somewhere else. You're just running to your death. You have no home. You have no home base.
Yeah,
run away off this planet and live.
Well, then you try to do it in style, and you kill yourself. It's just like, oh, okay. The three of us will go ahead and take care of it. You two stay back there, it's all good. So now we have ourselves a good old chase, a nice Indiana Jones canyon chase, which that reminded me of. So now we have, only at the last minute though, when it was needed, he kind of like, I'm going to save the day. But I could have saved the day 45 seconds ago, but I got you now. So he does end up shooting one of them, and the other two go on each side, so they flank them on the sides of this tank. So this tank obviously doesn't have any windows or any like shields for windows in the front. It's just an open slit. So apparently the speeder bike people could shoot inside it. So I don't know why they just couldn't continually shoot inside the front and have the lasers ricochet and kill everybody inside, because obviously that was their end game, but they didn't. And so just like Indiana Jones, tank went to the side and ended up crushing one of their dudes. So she ended up crushing one of the speed biker people against the wall, and the other one was able to climb on top. So now this is where Grease Karga, a.k.a. Carl Weathers, comes into play, because he's looking around. I don't even know what he was looking around at. Kind of like, oh, I'm just going to go left and right, and see if there's anybody still left and right, and then finally do a 180. And, oh, there he is on top with a thermo detonator. Ready to blow it up. So the poor dude ends up, I guess he ended up hearing the two turbo lasers at him, because he looked around like, uh-oh. Like he knew it was coming, and all we got was a shot of the empty helmet rolling along the floor as the tank went on. So off with your head.
Off with your head.
Off with your head. And no heads inside the helmet, though. It's not going to be extra. It's just going to be the empty shell. No stormtrooper goodness. So we thought we were in the clear, and you get to hear the nice little hum of TIE fighters, and
they always sound so cool.
Yeah. But you're fucked if you hear them. Like that's a distinct sound that they make. And and every Star Wars fan knows exactly what I'm talking about when you hear them. Yeah. So you know to run or hide if you hear it coming, because those who do have better aim than your average stormtrooper. But anyway, so they thought that they were in the clear, and nope, we're having ourselves a good old Tie Fighter fight. And once again, Grief Karga is at the rescue, ends up blowing up one of them, but so close to their own tank that it ends up ricocheting into it and destroys their turbo laser. So it looks like their end was near. You know, they're trying to get back to base. They're about to get shot up. And then finally, here comes the Razor Crest and, you know, starts to take them out. And that's always like a heartwarming scene, like, oh God, you know, he's here, he saved us, you know, we're in the clear again. And for an old pre-Empire ship or a pre-Imperial ship, that thing could move.
Oh, it can. And
Yeah.
it's so misleading because so TIE fighters, right? They're small. They're just fighters, and they're super agile. The freaking Razor Crest, like he talks about a whole downstairs or go under deck, go to this place. So it's like a pretty big ship. Like it's, I would say that it's probably Millennium Falcon size esque. You know, wouldn't you? But it like,
Ah, it's like a cargo ship for sure.
yeah,
It's a
but
freighter. Yeah,
he like freaking dogfights with this sucker. So yeah,
a couple of them. You know, he was able to take out like at least four of them. You know,
mm-hmm.
like at least the first two when off camera, and then we're at the shootout with the last two here, and Yobi is having a great time.
Oh yeah,
So
he was.
Yobi, yeah, and Yobi had a little snack in his hand. So
Violence.
let's talk about the time because you know Yobi had little macaroons in his hand, and we have to
He did
explain
say
where that
that
came from.
because yeah, you
Yeah,
didn't. I was gonna say that as well. So what's
yeah,
crazy, and you talk about this pretty often, is like he skips so many. There's so many lost opportunities for him to use the force, and usually,
yeah.
definitely in instances where like he's in danger, where he is in noticeable danger, where he's got something on his head or something's coming at him, and he just freaks out and freezes and doesn't use his force. So we know that for one thing, for this scene, that he can use it at will, you know. And what's he use it for? To get some freaking macaroons.
It's for food. Food. In the second episode, you know, when we met, was it second? Yeah, when we met Frog. No, first when we met Frog Lady. You know, he used it to bring the eggs towards him, and so now here we are again at this scene, and it was cute in a sense because the class is still going, and the kid looks over at him because he starts making his little cuckoo noises, and you know, he looks over and sees that he wants the food, and at first it's like you're thinking, oh, he's gonna give in, like this kid's gonna give in and give it to him because he keeps looking
No, he's a
over.
little jerk.
Yeah, you know, I guess the force cuteness doesn't work on him, you know, so he doesn't want to share his blue macaroons with Yobi. So Yobi decided that I'm going to go ahead and take these macaroons from you, you
Gank him.
know.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
gank move.
yep, run your macaroons. So sure enough, um, a little force music, you know, the foreground, background goes hazy, and poof, macaroons are over in Yobi's hands, and Yobi is snacking them down. And that's the end of it. You don't know if like the kid questioned it, try to get it back. Obviously, he didn't try to get it back because
Mm-mm.
Yobi had him. You know, so I was wondering if I was that kid trying to go home and explain that to my mom, like he stole my damn cookies, and I don't know how, but he did, and I couldn't get it back. So Yobi's having the time of his life in the Razor Crest as we're going and destroying these two TIE fighters left over. Like a
Maybe
roller
too
coaster,
much
hands
food.
up. Oh yeah. I mean, hands up, eating, and don't eat if you're gonna go on a roller coaster. Just don't do it. And if you do and have an iron stomach, bless your heart. But this Razor Crest is moving, and we did an aerial dive on the last TIE fighter and shot it out of the sky. And Yobi now throws up blue macaroon all
Dude,
over.
I don't. Yeah, it's nasties.
Blue macaroon all over his little burlap sack. And Mando, trying to be a good parent, turns around and wipes it up while they're off to go to get Ahsoka. Now we go back to Shady Dude from the beginning of the episode who was there to repair. And shout out to them though. They did an amazing job on the Razor Crest, obviously, because it didn't fall apart and looked
And
brand
fast.
spanking new. Yeah. It just had one a little accessory with it. Obviously they've been
Put their little
bugged.
touch on it.
Yeah. So the Empire was able to get a little tracker on the Razor Crest, and we all knew that was coming anyway. So now here we go. We see a small Imperial ship. That's kind of like a small little, uh, well, yeah, it would be an Imperial ship. It wouldn't be a capital ship though, because those are too big. But he has his own ship that he's on, and Moff Gideon gets a report from his lieutenant. I guess it looks like she comes over and lets him know that the target has been tagged, and he does have the asset with him, which Moff Gideon really wants to get his hands on, Yobi. And so now the game's afoot. We're now going to know where he's at, and we're going to go ahead and speculate how the next few episodes are, because we are midway through the season. So it's now anybody's game for what the next 4 episodes may be, or so.
Mhm.
You know, but Moff Gideon turns and looks at his troopers next to him, and now we finally get to meet the Dark Troopers in the season. So it goes to wonder, like, did he use some of those M counts on them too? Who are these troopers? Where'd they come from? What powers do they have, if they have any? Because now we're going to have the introduction of Ahsoka later on in the season, if not anytime soon, because we are now on our way. But as we know in any good old game, it's just not that easy to get to the end. There's always another character that's going to pop up before you even get there. So it could be the reintroduction again of Boba Fett. I feel could be coming out before we even get to Ahsoka, and if we do, but how do you feel about the end of that?
I liked it. I was so disappointed when I knew that he was bugged. Like, and I was as soon as it went back to the dude, I was like, I fucking knew it. Like, I knew it, you asshole. Um, Pretty cool. The he's flying off and he's telling his boys, "Hey, thanks, guys." And they're like, "Don't be a stranger. Come back and see us.
Yeah.
Come hunt us down too." So that was all cool. A little bit of, I wouldn't say closure, but like tying up a little bit of, we haven't seen, you know, these two this season.
Yeah,
So it was good to
yeah,
have an episode with them. And I think you last week were like we're gonna see them pretty soon. And yeah, you hit that right on. Um, what do you think? I agree with you. Boba Fett and Ahsoka, we're going to be seeing them real soon. Which one do you think that we'll see first?
it's probably going to be Boba beforehand because we need something to break up the end. I have a feeling that my thing is that these dark troopers could still be, the brothers that were missing from Mando's clan. You
Mm-hmm.
got to see all of the empty armor shells, and they seem to have disappeared. And knowing Moff Gideon, he's crazy, and doesn't is not afraid to cross boundaries and experiment on people. So it's not to say that he didn't capture all of those Mandos on that planet because it was such a strong Imperial presence when we got back to Navarro from the beginning to end of that season. So it's safe to say that maybe they were all captured by the Imperials and reconditioned to be his dark troopers. which I have a feeling that would be. It would bring a lot of emotional turmoil to Jin.
To Mando, yeah.
I would say to see his people like that. Um, Also, now with the introduction of Ahsoka, it's now another person that has high M count. I guess you could say that now that we have another force sensitive person. So it can go either way. It could be Yobi gets captured again, and now she teams up with Mando trying to go back and hunt them down to get him
Yeah,
back.
I
It
could
could
see
be the
something
death
like
of.
that.
It could be the death of Ahsoka. Finally bringing her character story arc to an end, as we saw her grow up through the Clone Wars and Rebels, and now that we're going to have her in Mandalorian. Who's to say that the way that they like to do things in Star Wars is to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Sometimes the end is never final, which it should be. But in a sense, too, I hope that they don't kill off her character, but it seems like something that they would do. Just to have an end of a story arc to her too, because you do hear her voice at the end of the movie in Exegol, which would kind of say that she did perish before that time. So it could say that this could be her time now to do it. I really hope not, but I wouldn't leave it past them. And I hate to say that, guys. I'm sorry. I don't want to say it. I don't wish death on our fan favorite character. I really don't. But I wouldn't. I would set myself up for something like that, especially coming from this crew.
Are you a big fan of Ahsoka?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like her character at the beginning, and I think a lot of us resisted her. But to see her growth over time and not be a follower to the Jedi Order, and I think that's thanks to Anakin's influence too. But she was able to hold her own and know when it was time to go, and know that just because you're a Jedi doesn't mean that gives you the right to be above it all. And she's seen how people in the lower levels of Coruscant lived, and she sees how other people viewed the Jedi and what the Jedi were turning into. So she grew a lot, and she's totally anti. I would say she's anti-Jedi, but she would remind you time and time again that she's not a Jedi. That's done. That's something that needs to be done. So, but yeah, she grew on me. So I would say I'm a fan
So
for
yeah,
sure.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see how Rosario Dawson's gonna take on that role. I like Rosario Dawson. I think she
Yeah, I think she would do well.
what was it? It was a show that nobody liked, but I did like it. Iron Fist. Um, I thought she was really good in it. And
Yeah,
Luke Cage, and
yeah.
I thought she was good in it. So overall, I
Do you
did
have
like
any
the
predictions?
episode. Oh, I think that seeing Boba Fett's before Ahsoka's a pretty safe bet, but I really think that he is going to see Ahsoka right now. That he's on his way, and that's what we're going to see the next episode. Um, and I think it is going to be a type of deal where she's like, "Hey, I know what those are," and no, there's not any of them left, or she gives them an answer of if there are any or if there's not, because I think she knows, you know. And then I don't know, they're gonna have a little. I want to see a Jedi actually fight on the Mandalorian. So I'm looking forward to that. I know she's not a Jedi, but I want to see somebody with a lightsaber with force powers who's force sensitive. You know what I mean? I want to see that type of person get down. Is what I want to see on the Mandalorian. But yeah,
Yeah,
so I don't have
I
any
feel like
predictions really.
I feel like
Boba
we
Fett
haven't
seems
been
cool.
given a really good yeah, and I feel like we haven't been given a good lightsaber fight. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we're due one with Gideon and Ahsoka. I hope, and they give us a run for their money kind of deal. I feel like the last three movies robbed us of a good lightsaber fight, and I really want to see them get back to like the old Obi-Wan and kind of uh, Maul or Yoda and Palpatine, Anakin, Obi-Wan kind of deal. Like that fast pace, you're with the Force. Let's see you use it. Let's see. You're supposed to be quicker than that. Not look like you're counting steps, which I'm sorry that the last movies kind of gave us because it wasn't anything memorable as far as the lightsaber fights go. So
No.
I would like to see that back again, and I hope they do it. I hope they deliver. They've been so good so far. So if they're listening, deliver.
What out of the movies, what is your favorite lightsaber fight? Do you think, or out of this last trilogy?
The last trilogy, I really don't have one. You could say it was Kylo and Rey, on Endor, but even still, yeah.
Yeah.
Even still, like my favorite one, if you have to go with the movie sequence, my favorite one would still have to be Anakin and Obi-Wan, just because of how quick, and how different their fight was from Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope. It was completely different, but you could tell they were at their prime, just the way that they were fighting and super lightning reflexes. And I thought I would have been chopped up if I was walking by, you know. And then as far as the animated series goes, they gave it to us in almost every one of them. So I can't say that I do have a favorite when it comes to the animated series. But, Ahsoka and Maul gave their run for the money in the last episode of Clone Wars, the last season of Clone Wars for sure. So I would definitely put that up there. And it was good to see Palpatine face Maul too when we were watching the story arc with Sabine and Bo-Katan. So that was a pretty good one too, I have to say. I'd
So
recommend.
my favorite lightsaber fight would be Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Maul from Episode One. So that
Mm-hmm.
would be my favorite. You know, really iconic. And then from this last trilogy, I would say what's the one where they were Ray and Ren were fighting on like the barges in the ocean? What planet was that?
Yeah, that was it. That was on Endor. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was probably the most memorable from. I agree with you. Then that's the most memorable from the newest trilogy.
Yeah, and even still, it felt kind of slow, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, but shout out to the little girl in this episode too who had Ray's haircut. I did see that in the school, so it looks like that was becoming a popular hit in the Outer Rim. So all right, with the little three rolls in your head. That's that. But that was the end of that, and that's all the predictions I have right now until next week for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, guys. Until next week, we'll get to see what's happening with the Mandalorian. See if we're going to see Boba Fett. See if we're going to see Ahsoka. See if they just say "fuck you, Mike and Mark" and give you something completely different altogether. And they could.
Which, knowing them, they just definitely can. However,
Yeah. It'll be a heist.
you
It'll be
know,
a heist, a space heist of some sort. He'll
oh
be some
yeah,
Mando. He.
we got to go
But
back to
yeah, yep.
Tatooine apparently. So it's
We
gonna be
still
one
have
of
definitely have
those.
to do that.
Yeah. So
Uh, yep. Let's just close this out. And guys, thanks for stopping in. And if you are watching this on YouTube, please remember to hit like and subscribe. We are with the Gamers Network, so check us out on Gamers Network Facebook. There you can get links to our Discord and man, on Facebook especially, we've got some competitions going on right now. So look us
yep.
up, join, and get into that. Be a part of it. So I'm Mike, aka Captain BD, and I'm signing off.
All right, and I'm Mark, aka Marco Polo, also signing off. Till next week.
All right, goodbye, guys.
Night.